Oh, 7.
Okay.
That's an unladylike question to answer, so
It really
skipping on
is.
that one.
But here we are.
Interesting.
We all just answer like
Well,
that.
really quick question for you.
Yes.
Do
Yeah,
you
we
think
can.
it would be like inappropriate or wrong for a guy to ask that question of you? Like individually, one-on-one, not on a podcast?
Yeah, I think if they asked about my past history and relationships, I would be willing to be honest because I have nothing that I am ashamed of. But if they straight up asked me, hey, by the way, what's your body count? I'm eliminating that person from my perspective in dating.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Why?
It's wrong for men to have any standards.
No,
even,
I think you should because, match up to what you feel is acceptable for you. So find that out. But the only way you're going to find out the truth, first of all,
So you would lie.
You might never find out the truth just by asking, right? You
For
can't.
you or for other women?
No, if you were to ask a woman what their
Well, we're
body
talking about
count.
you.
Yeah,
Yes, I agree. Women could lie about their body count.
I absolutely agree.
But would you lie about it?
I would not because I don't have anything to have to lie about.
But asking it would be disqualifying.
But being rude about it and not asking about previous relationships and just asking
Can I frame
about
it like
baby
this? Can I
body
frame
count.
it like this? So you're with a new guy or whatever, and he's like, "Hey, mi amor, I really like you. You're so." Is that Spanish? I don't know.
Sexy.
Yeah, you got it. Good-
You
good
are.
That was spicy.
I really like you. I see long-term potential here. In fact, I even think you could be my future wife. Maybe that might be cringe to say, but that's his intention, right? That's his intention. And he's like, listen, something that is important to me. Look, I have a past, you have a past. Something that's
Yes.
important to me, though, is I am curious to know your body count. And
The way that's framed
is that acceptable? Or
it's
no, not
it's
even that.
acceptable to ask about previous relationships, but if you mention the words body count, I think that
Even
you're
if
coming-
done in a
But that isn't that kind of sneaky? Because well, hang on. Isn't it kind of sneaky if it's the case that you say,
it's the way you ask.
hang on, you
as a
say,
gentleman or
hang on,
not.
can I ask the fucking question?
Sure.
Okay, so isn't it kind of sneaky to be like, you can ask about previous relationships? What if it's the case that the woman doesn't count, right? Other
One night
bodies
stand.
as being a relationship, whereas a body count is very
Yes.
specific, and it's like, you know what it is that I'm asking. Then doesn't that throw a red flag?
Again, personally, I like
Very
to keep
sneaky.
my
Very sneaky.
very
So
sneaky,
sneaky.
Andrew. Good catch.
I like to be very sexually disciplined. I don't have what I guess you guys would consider high body count. But there's no way of knowing if a person does have it or not. And I don't think that if you're looking for a wife, somebody serious to be in a relationship with in the future, that knowing that information is going to determine whether they have the character to be a long-term wife or anything like that, because you can't prove it. So for example, and I'll give you the example, you want somebody that you're with in the future to be clean, right? To not have an STD or anything like that. Can somebody who's a virgin have an STD?
yes, it's
Yes.
logically possible.
Yes. So the only way for you to find that out is by going to get tested, right?
Men care about body count for more reasons than just her STD status.
Yes, I agree. But I'm saying if you want a long-term
Well, wait a second.
partner,
There's a couple problems here. The first
Okay.
problem is the assumption that you'll never know. So the thing that's hilarious.
true.
Well, no. So here, I'll give you an example.
how are you going to know?
I literally just said I would give you an example.
Go for it.
Those were my exact words. So anyway,
Wait,
here's a great example of this. Woman says, I've only slept with 4 dudes, right? And the guy's like, oh, okay, well, that's a really small amount, right? Who are they? It's, my ex Justin, my ex, Fred, my ex Chuck, and my ex Dan, right? And then, a couple of weeks in, you find out she has another ex named Steve. And you're like, hey, how long were you with him? And you're like, 3 months. And you're like, did you omit him from the body count?
Yeah, you can find out
And
like
it's
that,
like,
yeah.
well, now you have good reason to suspect that
They're a
so-
liar.
Yeah. So the thing
So
is,
you
it's
wouldn't
like
consider
you
them
can
long
actually hang
term.
on. So you actually can.
You wouldn't
hang
consider
on.
them.
Let me finish, lady. You can indeed actually find out if a woman's being truthful about her body count or not. And if she was lying about that, you can easily assume that there's more, right?
Yes, and you should, if you want an honest person to have a relationship with, then you would discard them there. Not even for the additional body, right? But because of the fact that they lied, so you can't trust anything else that they say.
Right.
Yeah.
So the thing is that would be a deception. But if we're operating under the assumption that, well, you just have to take her at her word, you can't find out, that's actually not true.
You know what's funny is,
That's why I think it's
in her
irrelevant of a
notes.
question.
In her notes,
It seems relevant.
Wait. In her notes, she says that she actually runs criminal background checks on men before dating them.
I didn't actually.
Yeah.
Yep.
So it's interesting that it seems
Which is
like,
fine.
which is totally fine.
Totally fine.
However, there is a bit of a. She objects to men inquiring as to women's past, but doesn't.
I'm not against it. No, I'm not.
You
I'm
wouldn't-
not against it. I'm
you are
saying
against
that you
it.
wouldn't get the truth. There's no.
So you're admitting you would lie about it.
No, and I have never.
No, but
But there's no
hold
reason
on.
to assume you're telling
Why
the
would
truth.
you assume? But hold on, women can be honest about this.
Yes.
Correct.
So
I-
women
yeah.
can be honest and
Yes.
women can be deceptive.
Yes.
But I'm asking you specifically.
Yes.
So for you, it's if the guy asks the question, it's over.
From the
Cut.
from
He's
the
cut.
beginning, yes, I feel
Why-
like that's a rude, ungentlemanly question to ask. I feel like if they know me and we've talked and they know my past,
Sure.
they know what
Which
I
you
do,
wouldn't
they know my
disclose.
values,
Which
That's
you
why you're
wouldn't
being asked,
openly
yeah.
disclose.
they know my values.
Hold on, I got to come
then-
back to this.
But
Yeah.
I have
wait.
one more question, though.
Hold
Yeah.
on, let me get the answers from people. Body count.
Well, I heard it resets after a BBL, so
You
just
have-
3.
Before the 3.
You have a BBL.
Yeah. It
re-
resets after that, I heard. So
Okay, so 3 since the
3,
BBL. How
yeah.
about the prior to the BBL?
a little more than 3. It resets. You're so funny.
What was it before the BBL?
If I had an answer, I'd tell you, but I don't.
Did
know.
you forget?
I don't know.
Like you lost track.
Yeah.
Here, let me.
That's why
Can
I
we
was
ballpark
happy
it?
that it reset.
Can we ballpark it? Can we say? Wait. No. And you're gonna answer the question, and I need to do your notes. Don't you want me to go over your comedian notes that you have here?
They're not that good.
I mean, they are pretty good. They are pretty good. Why don't you at least stay for the body count question? What is the body count? Okay, you did say you don't do OF, but you date a lot. Lots of experience. Do you want to just yell it out?
No. I just, why would I, like, I think she just made a good point. Like, why would I answer?
How's that a good point? That's not a good point.
How would my boyfriend feel watching this about me talking about body count publicly?
You're on a dating
Why do you
podcast.
let you go on? If
There's plenty of
Look,
dating shows
I'm not giving
throughout
you-
history that have never talked
Yeah,
about
I'm
that.
not giving you any pushback on
You
this.
know.
It's Brian's
People know
case
this
that
is-
Brian
they asked
Brian
that
asked the
here.
body count thing. I don't give a shit what the body count is. I only give a shit if the idea is that it's somehow inappropriate to ask. That's in dating. That's the only thing I care about because that doesn't make any sense to me.
Yeah, I mean, it makes sense to ask when in dating, but it obviously is
Before
something
she leaves.
uncomfortable to share publicly. You know, that's something that it opens you up to a lot of prejudice you got to
Hey.
think about.
So if you're leaving, you can't linger. So do you want to return?
Yeah, what?
If somebody's going to leave the podcast, you don't get to hang out behind the scenes.
absolutely. I'm
Okay.
I'm so sorry. No, I want to go.
yeah.
Okay. So you forgot, maybe is it 20 to 30?
It's probably like
Boom,
a little
boom,
bit more than that.
What do you mean?
Okay. What's going on here? What are you guys doing?
It's just moving down so they got more space.
Very squished
Okay.
over here.
All right, yeah. Can we get body count?
5 men, 2 women.
I would rather not share on the podcast, but if I were asked on a date, probably like the second or third date, and if the other person on the
kick
date
everybody
also
off this
shared their
fucking
body
wall.
count, then I would.
Huh? I'm sorry, could you repeat it?
That's all right. I was just saying I won't share on a podcast, but if I were on a date and I were asked, then I would share on the date if
Do you
the
want
other
to do a
person
ballpark? Do you want to do a range?
if the other person was also sharing.
So you will admit to doing like all kinds of degenerate sex acts. You're essentially a prostitute.
I'm not a prostitute. I've never had sex for money.
Do you engage in acts that sexually gratify men in person?
No, all of my clients are welcome to touch themselves if they behave themselves, but I do
That's
not touch their
prostitution.
genitals.
For sure.
That's still prostitution.
I disagree.
But we're not gonna have like a debate, a definitional debate. Okay, body count, please.
I've been married twice, say at least 2. Both my relationships have
close the
been
door, please.
long term.
No. When we have somebody, okay. Do you want a ballpark? Do you want to give a ballpark?
I mean, I would say, I guess 2.5, because I was a teenager and I fooled around with the boy,
Can you
but
tilt your microphone down, please?
I'm sorry.
Okay, you want to answer. What about you?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not going to answer too. And respectfully, we do talk about chivalry. And chivalry, again, as you said, it's coming from the medieval knights. It's coming from Arthurian legends. And I just don't think behavior among this otherwise has been necessarily very chivalrous to the women who have come out here today.
What are you talking about? How does that pertain to the question
You
at
already know
hand?
they aren't chivalrous.
I know, but it's just obvious that a lot of women have been made uncomfortable. I mean, 2 women have left the show early.
It's because it's late. It has nothing to do with, yeah. But what is your actual objection to the question? Is it related to this?
Yeah, I mean, I just don't think it's something
It's
you
not
need to
chivalrous.
share publicly.
Then
it's
have you watched the podcast?
yes, yeah, I have watched some
Are
things,
you
and I
aware?
decided I
But so
didn't
if
want to
you're-
answer it before I came
okay.
on.
Well, that's fine. You don't have to answer it, but you are
Exactly.
aware. Like, I don't see how you can raise this criticism if you're aware that it is a question that is asked. Like, you're not surprised that the question is being asked.
No.
And as far as chivalry, I'm not dating any of you. This is a dating discussion show. Body count is a component. It's something that men care about and something that
be.
women can care about or do care about.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't see how this is like somehow like an inappropriate question to ask on an adversarial, controversial, known to be controversial dating podcast. I don't see how this would establish a lacking of chivalry.
No, not the question in particular, but just,
Go ahead,
general
make your
attitudes.
make your criticism. Go ahead.
I mean, I just made it. I think that
Well, I know your criticism is now going to extend beyond just the fact that I'm asking the body count question.
yeah, I don't think that that's
You-
inherently
right. You want to make a
inappropriate.
criticism as to what?
She was
I guess I
saying
just
general
didn't
attitudes.
expect it to be as high stress of an environment. I mean, this time you've been very exacerbated. She was over there like sighing earlier, and you're kind of like, oh my God, like stop sighing and all of that. It's
Yeah, she's creating. If you've agreed to come on the podcast and the podcast has rules, and we remind you of the rules repeatedly, and you break the rules, that's going to result in frustration. Have you ever dated a guy and he continued to make the same mistake over and over and over, and you got frustrated?
Yeah, and naturally. I mean, earlier.
Naturally. That's a perfect word to describe it. Naturally. So, look, you guys have not been exactly, this isn't even about the body count thing. You guys have not been particularly following some of our rules. You've been kind of difficult. Some of you have been feral. There's been massive amounts of interrupting. There's been tons of bad faith conversation.
You've been okay, by the way.
She's been fine,
Yeah.
but now she's levying a criticism towards me about the, and it's like, if you poke somebody enough, they're going to get frustrated. And it's like, I'm the one running the show. I'm trying to keep everything like moving along. So I have a higher burden than every single one of you panelists here.
There's
I
been
agree.
interruptions on both sides. Let's
I'm
just
the host.
like put that out there.
Yes, I'm the
Like,
host. I'm going to have to interrupt.
Yeah, that's fine for your hostal duties, yes. But there has been some discussions where people have been getting cut off, including myself, where I wasn't able to finish a sentence, and then I had to defer to the person that was speaking. So I'm just
Yeah.
saying.
You've been okay too.
And if I may, earlier you had said that men, they have easier jobs nowadays, going out, not working in the fields. Frankly, I'd rather be in a coal mine than do your job. I think it's difficult. So, I respect it for that, and I just wanted to say it because that was how I was feeling. That was one of the rules that we read off at the beginning too. Say how you feel, don't hold back, in your full totality. So.
Okay. So now it's just like a meta conversation, a meta criticism of the podcast.
No. Yeah, I mean, I guess I didn't come in necessarily with the impression that this was helping the lives of young men and of all people in general. But
have you felt different, like at the beginning of the show or before the show till now, and what you think it like represents and stands for?
Yeah, I guess. I mean, it's a frustrating debate. I think it's frustrating for pretty much everybody involved. But people keep coming back and streaming every Sunday. So.
I came on because I was like, this is clickbait vibes.
I think
how is it clickbait?
I felt the same. I mean, like the clips.
How's that,
like
how's
no,
that
like no, not in a bad. I'm not saying in a
said?
bad way. I'm saying in a good way.
This is I mean, the structure of the show, which I understand, it's a very long show, 7 hours, and then you can get 30-second content clips that can be posted on social media for like a week. And so that's the nature of the podcast, which I totally understand. And I knew personally, and maybe you didn't know or you weren't aware that this was going to turn into this kind of a situation, but I knew that being conservative, but not conservative to the degree that they would like to label it, is going to put me on the opposing side. So at least I was prepared for that. And I think it showed. I mean, I kind of proved myself right. You know, at first when you guys thought I was going to be 100% on whatever it is that you guys said, I was even on the other side of the table.
Think about that.
And when, you know, I had a different opinion, now I'm on the opposing side of the table. I think tone matters. Maybe that's what you're talking about. The kind of tone that you use when you're talking to people, debating with people, it can be kind of condescending. You know, if somebody makes a mistake, maybe a nicer tone or more gentlemanly tone would kind of prove that
it literally
you know,
doesn't
you're trying
work.
to be
That's
chivalrous.
totally this feminine view, like this empathy shit. That's how. Oh my god. Was Nathan very polite when he told you guys not to interrupt one person speaking at a time? When he was going over all the pre-show instructions?
Polite. Yes, he's been the most
right.
polite.
And then
The hell have I done to you?
Did we?
I was just sitting here.
Did we provide you even before the show in our pre-show notes, sort of, no interrupting, one person speaking at a time? So it's like when somebody repeatedly continues to break our rules, makes mistakes, and just isn't, and they're being bad faith, and they're in your case, this entire night, I don't think you understand how frustrating it is to attempt to have a logical conversation with somebody and they strawman your positions all night. They misrepresent your positions all night. It's like that Jordan Peterson interview with Kathy Newman. So what you're saying is, no, that's not what happened. And it's incredibly frustrating to be in that kind of conversation where somebody can't be charitable to your views. They don't understand. They're not understanding what you're saying. And so, yes, that's going to be frustrating.
Yes,
and
but
in
I have
addition
not
to that,
been
there's a bunch of shit
ungenuine.
behind the scenes. Fucking, this isn't anything to do with Nathan. My primary producer, Mary, called out on a big show. It's Nathan's first day doing and this isn't Nathan's fault, but that puts higher burden on me to, do certain things. I don't have my entire team here. That's going to have an impact. And then in addition to that, people are interrupting. People are not deferring to me when I'm trying to move things along and constantly being interrupted. Yeah, that's going to get on your nerves. So it's like literally, remember, Nate, at the very beginning of the show, the very top of the show, Nathan gave his instructions. In our pre-show instructions, we say, don't interrupt. It's really important to speak close to the mic. And then I reiterated it for at least a third time right before the show. Speak close to the microphone. Literally the first words out of a panelist, or the first action out of a panelist's mouth, you were not speaking close to the microphone. And that just sets the stage for just...
You get and I get the frustration. There's just people that I guess react differently to the frustration. for example, no relationship is perfect, boyfriend, girlfriend, but I think if I'm extremely frustrated with my boyfriend, the way that I tell him things to correct his behavior, he tells me something to correct something that I've done. If he told me things in a certain tone, a certain way, I am more receptive to it versus being, more pushed back. And would you consider yourself a little bit more, confrontational in your way, your tone of talking to people in comparison to most?
Yes, I do.
Okay. See, that's just a personality trait that may go well or may not go well with people, with certain people. If, it was me, that kind of tone doesn't work for a relationship. So you and I
This isn't a relationship. This is a podcast.